Hello everyone. So welcome in the new video. So in last video, we have completed the data logger part. So till now, for the specific water quality measurement related series, we have added TDS sensor, we have added turbidity sensor, we have created data logger where sensor senses the value and continuously saved in the SD card. So up to this part we have completed. Now today I'm going to add one more sensor which is pH sensor. However, this is little bit complex and today I don't know, unfortunately my newly ordered sensor is not properly working. So that's why I've divided this video into two parts because last 2 to 3 video length is more than 20 minutes, which is not ideal because people feel bored, right? So that's why I divided this video into two parts. This part is basically introduction. So today we will explore the pH sensor work and how to interface with STM32, and then in next part I will try to correct or uh, make the sensor properly working condition. Otherwise I will order new one, and this is quite expensive also. It's not that much expensive, but compared to TDS and turbidity it's about more than 2 to 3 times cost is there. So that's why first I will try to make this sensor working. If it is not possible, then I will definitely order new one. So basically, what is pH? And before this, let us first of all I will just show you the sensor. Okay, so here you can see this is the sensor. I connected this with my STM32 nuclear 144 board. This is power supply. Basically here four wires are there, if you can see carefully, right? Let me show you properly. So here you can see the wire T0, D0, P0 to ground and V voltage. So voltage and ground pins are connected with 5 volt and ground. I will use this breadboard, and I've just connected this P0, which is actually analog pin, with PA3, right? This one, this is the PA3. So I've connected this, and this is the sensor, if you can see. Okay, this is the complete sensor. This sensor is wire connected with this board, and output of this I will connected with the nuclear 144 board. This is the sensor, you can see, right? Some liquid is there, which is actually salted water, you can say, and we have to make this arrangement. So we have to make sure that this sensors, this top part, which is actually one bubble, you can see, should not dry, right? That's why we have to continuously provide this type of solution, right? So anyway, we will discuss this further. So this is the sensor which I'm talking about. Okay, now what is pH? So pH is a basically pH measures how acidic or basic, or you can say alkaline water is, right? So its range is from 0 to 14. So this sensor can measure this. 7 is neutral, right? And full form of pH, you can say potential of hydrogen. So we are basically measuring this quantity, potential of hydrogen. So basically detecting the concentration of hydrogen ion in that solution is our aim using this sensor, right? So how we cannot make this sensor, right? I cannot build this, but I'm going to use this to measure the pH. And here you can see on the scale it is showing this from 0 to 14. 0 means highly acidic water and 14 means alkaline water, and 7 is neutral, right? So this is what the scale of pH sensor. Now why measuring pH pH matters? So basically this type of device used in the you can say agriculture, right? Water treatment plant, food, biotech. So this is very much important thing, right? Means for certain level of pH is only a drinkable water is there, right? Same way for aquarium also, fish can survive only within some range of the pH value. Otherwise, too acidic is also definitely very harmful for them. So we have to measure this. So in agriculture, to check the soil quality, this type of device used in water treatment to keep your drinking water safer, right? That is also one of the application, you can say, why we need to measure this pH. In food and beverages for quality control, and even in medical and biotech lab also for monitoring chemical reactions. So basically, when the water is there, so this parameter could be important, then you can measure this value, right? Now core of the pH sensor is, so basically this is the core part. So whatever I just show you, that black rod type of thing, that is actually the pH electrode, you can say, right? And electrode's output is connected with one board, small board, and that board converts that voltage or whatever signal into electrics further for further processing, right? So basically this is the sensor, right? Here you can see one connector is there. This is actually BNC connector, and that BNC connector is connected with the board, right? Now here you can see different parts are there, so I will not go in much deeper, but assume that this one is internal electrode. Okay, this one is internal electrode, and this is the reference electrode, like or you can say reference electrode, right? This is reference electrode and this is internal electrode. Now, what reference electrode will do, what internal electrode will do, that is the core part of this pH sensor. Now here you can see some liquid is there, right? And I also demonstrated this in my sensor also. Some water bubble is there. So that water is actually normal, you can say normal pH level water is there, right? It's ideal for, means you can say 7 pH value water is there, right? And this electrode is actually uh, showing that reference voltage. You can say reference pH. You can not voltage, but reference pH. Right. Now, and this outside, you can say one glass membrane is there, right? This is a glass membrane, and which is H plus sensitive. So now, whenever you just put this sensor into the water or into any, this type of uh, what we can say liquid. So what happen? The H1 plus parts H1 ions of that water will definitely make the interaction with this glass membrane, right? It is very sensitive toward this H plus ion. Now here internal also H plus ions are there, right? And in outers that particular liquid also is having H plus ion. Now if these outer H1 H plus ions are more than this, so there will be some repulsion, right? And due to this repulsion, it convert that repulsion into equivalent voltage, right? So it's based on the concentration of H1, and because of the interaction between these two, some voltage will be generated. Okay, we are not going much into the chemical or this theory, but just understand that one reference scale is there, right? One another scale which is affected by the external concentration of H1, H plus ion, or you can say hydrogens, and by measuring the difference between the reference and that affected part, you can have the millivoltage or some voltages, right? And that voltage we will basically read through our STM board, and then we will make some calculation that okay, for 7 pH I have 1.5 volt, for 8 pH I have something 1.3 volt or something like that. So by measuring that relation, I can have some proper fixed equation, and that equation will continuously convert your input voltage into equivalent pH. That is our overall idea, right? So now some problems like weak signal problem, so that is again related to the electronics. So amplification is required because this sensor may have weak or noisy signal, so amplification will correct it, right? Then some op amp circuits are also there, which is again for stabilizing or so I'm not going much into this deeper into this electronics part, but now let us start this interfacing. So basically interfacing means we have to connect this board. Okay, I'm talking about this board which I have already demonstrated you. So basically this is the BNC connector where our this pH electrode will connect it with, and here you can see 5 wires are there which I have already shown you, right? So here plus ground and analog wire, 3 wire we have to connect with our board. So basically pH sensors P0 wire is connected with PA3, which is again analog to digital converter pin, because this is also analog signal, we have to convert this into digital, right? pH sensor plus V plus is connected with 5 volt and ground connected with ground. So basically only these three connections are required, right? Now calibration, so as I told you earlier, we can use some standards for pH4, pH7, pH10 solution and map the voltage, and then we can have accurate reading. So basically 2 or 3 standard solutions we can prepare, and we can measure the voltage, we record the voltage at each point, create mapping curve, and use that to calculate unknown pH later. This step removes sensor drift and ensure precision in your reading, right? Second is this testing setup. So connect pH probe with the board, and that board is connected with ADC, and that ADC is basically we will do some process over on this analog voltage, and then we will display this on LCD, and you can have that data logger or whatever for further uh, you know processing. And here again, if your this as we did in our last 2 analog sensors, these sensors are not properly calibrated, or you can say they give different reading for each second, right, or for each millisecond in fact. So basically averaging is the best idea for this type of issue. So if you take 30 average within 1 second and then 30 signal and then average them, so you will have some stable output, right? That we have already seen, right, in our last 2 to 3 videos. So basically this is the best thing which we can do. Okay, and again this is used for smart agriculture, water quality system, industrial chemical control, right, all this. And now this is the overall summary, this is the basic, you can say, theory part of this. And in next we will try to write this type of code. Actually I have already written this code, but somehow my sensor is not responding, so that's why I've divided this into 2 parts, right? But basically this is again same function as we did for TDS and turbidity. So basically, if we will call this function, right, we will average this, and on this value we will write our calibration logic, right? Of course, this voltage, we have this output, and then this function will basically return some value, some digital value, right? And we can process over that digital value only. So this is the overall idea of this pH sensor interface. Again, this sensor is little bit, difficult to handle also. Let me show you through this. You can see this is the solution, which is continuously means this type of structure you should maintain. And here you can see in this sensor, this small bubble is there, right? If you can see, let me move my camera, right? This you can see here, this bubble is there. So it's basically liquid, that's reference pH liquid, right? Having 7 pH value, but you have to handle this very properly. I don't know, I ordered this online, but it is not giving proper output. It is not responding well, so I'm working over it. And in next video, we will try to interface, and we will try to write code and display this value. So this is what for today's video. If you like my work, then please like my YouTube video, subscribe my YouTube channel, share with your friend. Till then, bye bye. Thanks a lot.